Yes. Welcome to Entertwine's The Launch Chronicles. Entertwine is a collaboration engine that allows creatives to rapidly iterate and develop new ideas. And to kick off our launch November 1st, I'm doing an episode series called The Launch Chronicles. And today I'm talking to a very special person because she's my godmother and I love her. And I'm so excited to have her on the show. Her name is Tasha Curtis. I wish I had sound effects. I wish I could clap.
Hi, everyone. Claps.
Claps for Tasha. All right. So if you can't see the resemblance, there's not much.
I'm her godmother, okay? There's no resemblance. But she's adorable and she's my goddaughter.
And it's so nice to have someone who's in the family who's a part of the entertainment industry. So I've never really asked you this until like just now. Like, okay, so when did you get started in the entertainment industry? I know you cut. I know you always talk about it. You've helped me on some things that I needed cutting, but I've never asked you how you started. Like trifling.
Well, it's okay. It's not trifling. Well, it started off like I literally was in the entertainment business, but kind of behind the scenes. I was a union representative for broadcasting for like 13 years, and I was so bored and so unstimulated mentally. But I worked with like a bunch of editors and sound engineers and oh my God, there's so many people that work behind camera operators and things. And I would talk to all my members all the time. And they were like, come over and get creative with us. So I went to Video Symphony. The school doesn't exist anymore, but it was in Burbank. And it was like a certificate program to learn how to use basically a film, television, broadcasting. So I went there and I learned how to use the software that most people use in our industry, which is Avid. And that was my whole life. After that, I quit my union job and became an assistant editor. And that's how my whole life started about 10 years ago.
And so wait, it took 2 years to do the program, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got my first job like a month after I graduated.
Now, how did you do that? Lots of people are shaking do that.
I was just super focused. I just was ready to change my career and I was ready to move on. So my school had this like section of it where you work on your resume and you start looking for jobs. So at the time we used LinkedIn. LinkedIn?
Yes, you can say LinkedIn.
And okay, I used LinkedIn and I started looking up a bunch of post-production companies. And I literally had like this big long spreadsheet and listed all of the post-production companies in reality. And I just went down the list and started cold calling people, start finding out who worked there so I can find out who to ask for and just introduce myself and was like, yeah, I'm an assistant editor and I wanted to know if I can forward you my resume. I would love to work for you guys, and just sent out got emails, sent out my resumes, literally followed up after a couple of weeks if I hadn't heard anything. And I got hired by a company that was actually I called like 47 companies in a week. I went back to school and we had an assignment and they were like, how many did you call? And people were like 4 and 8. And then they were like, Tasha, how many? I was like 47. Okay. I called 47 people that I had no idea who they were, introduced myself, sent my resume to them. And now I'm stalking them until they hire me. And that's what I did. And then like literally a company that was in my A category wind up calling me afterwards to get a job. And I've been loving post-production ever since.
And so let's see. So when you're an assistant editor, how did that work out? And how did you start cutting for yourself now? I think you cut for
okay, so right? Assistant editor is like, oh my goodness. It's 2 different things in 2 different fields. Okay. So when you work in reality television, which is where I started because 10 years ago, that's all America wanted to watch.
Yeah, it was like all of it was all like the Kardashians, and there was like a whole bunch of
It
trash.
was all the rave. So that was what was hiring. So reality TV is like very technical. You know, they're shooting with like 14 cameras, and you know, it's just a really technical part of the job. It's like ingesting footage and grouping it and getting everything ready to come out to get cut first, you know. So I'm assisting the editors in getting everything prepped for them to cut. So that was my job mostly. I didn't aspire to be an assistant editor. So I learned a lot in regards to just the technical aspect of it, in which I still use every day. Like when you're working on indie projects and everything, you have to know the technical part of things. So it was super helpful. And what I didn't know as a storyteller, as an editor, I would like look at those timelines and figure out, how did they make them do this? How did they tell that story? And I would like look at their timelines and learn from them. And then I would ask for people like, do you have an indie job for me? I can cut. I want to cut. So on the side, I would always cut like independent small projects and things like that to just keep my work on my craft.
And did you like working on reality? I know when you do reality, it's just a bunch of random shots of people just sitting on couches and doing nothing. And so like it's the editor's job to put it all together, make it dramatic when it ain't nothing happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. The thing about reality is like I equate it to like building a house. Okay. So if you're in contract, you're like building the foundation, the walls, you're just like building this house from the ground up. That is literally reality TV. You're making stories out of nothing. Or, you know, you're just building these stories. You're really building them because there's so much going on in reality TV. So much.
Could you name drop? Could you name drop one of them reality TV shows? Are we allowed to do that?
Okay, so Bachelor. Bachelor has a huge following. I worked on The Bachelor for literally like 2 years, and it was quite the learning experience. So it had so many people in the house, so many contestants. There were like dates that The Bachelor was going on, and while he was dating, there was still people at the house, and there was like these people that don't like each other fighting, or these people that really get along, that's hanging out by the pool all day, or this girl working out, or, you know, so it's like many different stories going on all at the same time. And then you have to find what's the most interesting story to follow as it develops more and more. Yeah.
So you transitioned from reality and you went into scripted stuff. Why?
Well, I'm not quite scripted yet. I'm still working on that.
Hold on. Like, small plug. Is Love Victor not scripted?
Okay.
Isn't that the new JOB? Oh, come on.
I did get a new job in scripted, and I do scripted. I do. Like, I've cut a couple of web series. I cut this web series called POZROZ, which I really adore. I also cut Extractions, which I hope all the links are down.
There's no links at the bottom, but I will put the link somewhere.
Will come in the bottom. But I did this web series called Extractions as well. I did a lot of like indie projects, like shorts and things like that went to film festivals and stuff. So I've been constantly always working on my craft, constantly. And I love indie projects. I love film festivals. I literally have worked at Sundance for literally 10 years. It was like I got an internship when I was in school, and I've been literally working at Sundance ever since then. And I love the whole process of just like how I love their labs, their writer. I love how they really nurture our artistry. I really love that, from production to post-production.
I'm gonna look into Sundance. I'm gonna look into you for the Sundance. We've already talked about this, right? Never followed.
We've already talked about this already. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So if you haven't seen it, I'll put the link in. I personally like Extraction the most because I like the way it was cut and edited and colorized. It was really well done and it was really well shot. And there's some famous people in there. It's surprising the YouTube only has like 100 views, and I was
You
like,
guys
sad.
watch that. It's such a good web series, honestly. And what I loved about it is like it's all Black people. It's like Black in front of the camera and it's Black behind the camera, like the writers, the producers, the directors, the editor. Like everybody is people of color, and that's a huge thing right now. That's a huge thing for us.
Okay, well, let's talk about that then. Like, I know we had talked about how there's this push for inclusion from Netflix, from Amazon, for Hulu. And, you know, why do we need a push for inclusion? What's it like being a Black woman who's in these awesome spaces? What it look like though?
You are a unicorn most of the time. I'm not going to say that I'm the only person because honestly, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people of color in the industry. It's just hard getting in there. It's hard for, you know, most of the time I am the only person of color. Most of the time I am the only woman, believe it or not. So it's really nice that at this moment that I am seeing more women editors. I'm seeing more people of color that are actually in post-production, in production in general. You know, it's like we are not really there, but we're there. It's just it's really hard to get into, especially when you're a person of color. So it's really nice that right now this push, this change for content, this change for what is behind the camera. You know, like I think Orange is the New Black was literally cut by a bunch of white guys.
Oh,
And yeah, and the post-production showed a picture of their post-production for Orange is the New Black, and it was like all these white men telling all these people of color and women stories. And they were like, where are the women? Where are the people of color? And they got in big trouble, and they were like looking for people of color to work on the show because, you know, who doesn't want to tell our stories our way? You know, the fact that there are so many white men that are telling women's story or telling stories of people of color. It's like, why can't we
do it ourselves?
Our stories? Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, now it's a plug for me. That's what Entertwine is going to do, right? No, that's the whole purpose of my platform, right? Is to mix people with diversity and making sure that we make our own stuff, right? And POZROZ, Extraction, we come out here and we do our own thing. We do it with the people that we want. But not to say that that's the only thing we can do. We're going to try and make it a difference for when we go up into the bigger parts of the industry, right? Exactly. And we had talked about how Netflix and like all these streaming sites, Hulu, Amazon, Apple Plus, the industry isn't here to put that in your contracts, that people in the industry, the professionals aren't aware that that's the new buzz thing. And we need to be keeping up on that. And so the younger generation is here to help.
And yeah, you guys are our breath of fresh air. You guys are coming with new ideas. You guys know way more about what's going on, like TikTok. You know, like who knew Snapchat would have things for us to cut? Who knew Facebook would have things for us to cut? It happened. And now it's like, I think what's next is like TikTok is going to have things for us to cut, you know? But it's like we are not, as professionals, it's so new, just like streaming was so new for us. It was a new thing. And now it's our whole entire lives, especially with the pandemic going on and literally everything is being streamed. And it's really changed the industry's outlook on us as union people. Like we actually can get union jobs at Hulu, at Amazon, at Netflix. It's, you know, it's union, and that's where you guys need to know. The union is good, guys. The union is good. It has wonderful benefits for all of us. Great rates. They're going to fight for our rates, you know?
Well, hold on. So before, back in the day, I'm talking maybe 4 years ago, Netflix wasn't Hulu, or excuse me, Netflix wasn't union?
No, Netflix wasn't union, nor was it part of our contract. You know, at the time, we only had DVDs. Like that's how we got our residuals. Were from DVDs. And then all of a sudden DVDs went away and they didn't exist anymore. And we didn't really know how streaming was going, like how could it be union? How could we get residuals from it? How do we even monitor this thing that was just all of a sudden blowing up and had all the content, and we were all working there, and we had to figure out how to maneuver through this, how to negotiate the contracts to where streaming became a part of our contracts opposed to DVDs that no longer exist. So
y'all got gypped.
we really did. It's a struggle.
For a minute.
For a minute, but it's different now. The same things that was the whole reason even behind the writer's strike as well. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing for writers. It's the same thing for everyone that works in production. You know, like now they have all these shows and we're all union members, and it affected our lives, and we didn't even anticipate it. We didn't even know that it was going to be like this. It's like this. It just happened.
Right. And there's a lot of young people who are like, that's obvious that this is going to be something that we need to do. But a lot of people in the higher ups who've been in the game for a minute, they're like, I haven't, like when I talked to you about podcasts and TikTok, you were like, what? And I was like, yeah, they're coming to get you. They're coming for your throat.
They are. So the new people need to, there's a great connection between the new faces, the newbies coming in the industry with just this freshness to them, just the knowledge of what's happening. Technology is constantly changing for us all. So it's like, it's amazing what new people can bring their insight, and then combine it with the older people that have been in the field with wisdom and experience. You put us together and it's like, we could do beautiful things together. We could learn so much from each other,
So that's my goal now. From now on, like my goal is for my platform is to have professionals who are wise pair up with fresh breaths of air, and we could kill it, right? We could have all of these crazy. TikTok could be so amazing. It doesn't have to just be karaoke and choreography. It could kill it. It could be the next big thing. That's what Snapchat was supposed to be, right? Like it was
exactly
next big thing. So if we can get it together and have more diversity, we can really kill what the industry could really be like. All right, so
even diversity in regards to like Netflix. That's what Entertwine's about, to get like Netflix and Hulu's and like the heads of these people and say, you're looking for diversity, you're looking for content, you're looking for new inventive things. Like, here's my platform so that I can introduce you to diversity. I can introduce you to new things, new ideas, new things. Like that's what we all need to do at this moment. Content is a huge thing. Everyone's looking for it. Influencers are a big deal. Like, how do we capitalize off of it all?
This is true. And as we wrap up, do you have any advice for people who are fresh coming in, the fresh breaths of air, and how they can navigate now?
You guys, just navigating, just keep your drive. You guys have the best drive. You're very ambitious, very focused. Just use your resources. You have an abundance of resources in front of you. You have Entertwine, you have LinkedIn, you have so many avenues in which you can reach out. And if it takes cold calling, like what I had to do 10 years ago, then that's it. If it takes going to networking events so that you can introduce yourself to people, do that. Just stay focused, keep your drive alive, and you'll get there. You'll get there. Whatever you put your energy in is what you're going to get back.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to keep putting energy into nice things, right?
Yeah.
Like yoga stuff.
Like Buddhism, okay? If you're a good person, you die, you come back richer and better, okay? So, like, just keep being focused, keep being ambitious, and just don't stop. Don't give up.
Thank you. Well, that's some good advice. No, I think that's a good way to close. Like, that was great. Stay tuned for more. Thank you, Tasha. This is my godmother. She did this.
November 1st. Look at what my goddaughter has done. Okay. She's about to drop, and we're all going to be here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here.
Drinking it up. So cheers to you. We're done.
Yay, we did
Drink it
it. Salud.
Salute.
My nails, you guys. It's quarantine, okay?
I'm drinking water. She'll be here drinking vodka. Bye.
Bye.